presentation.
Hi, I can't hear you, Matt Tom. I just see your chat there. She's a graduate too.
Oh, and if you do want to ask a question live, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and I will unmute you.
That's fine. I'm happy to do that. So.
Okay. So I'll just monitor that. If you want to ask a question, sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. We have the YouTube people with us now. So good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Judy Kitt. I'm the president of the Foundation for Mind Being Research. And I know that we have a lot of people here today who may not have heard about us before. So I want to let you know that we were founded in 1980, so almost 42 years ago, in Palo Alto, California. By scientists and artists and healers who were really interested in looking at human consciousness through the lens of science and spirituality and ancient wisdom traditions. And so we really seek to provide resources to help individuals explore, discover, and apply wisdom so that we can all live with a greater sense of peace and understanding and awareness. So I encourage you to check us out. We're at fmbr.org. And all of our presentations are available on our YouTube channel, which is FMBR TV on the YouTube channel. So you can go look at all of those for free. And if you like and subscribe, then you'll get notifications about when we go live. So I encourage you to do that as well. So we're really honored to have Laura Hopper with us this afternoon. Laura is the founder and director of Psychic Horizons in the Church of Natural Grace. She began teaching classes, doing healing work, and private readings in 1977. And since 1981, when the school became formally incorporated, Laura has worked with thousands of students. She's taught all levels of classes and currently teaches beginning meditation, advanced clairvoyant training classes, and graduate classes. She also does private readings. So Laura was raised in Iran by missionary parents and has lived in various parts of the United States. In college, she was involved in politics and was headed for law school, but she ended up in San Francisco anyway, and instead. And it sounds like the universe had different plans for you than law school, correct?
That's right, it did.
Yeah. So welcome. We're really glad to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I have never been to FMBR before, so it's interesting to be here. So I'm happy to be here. So I just wanted to tell you that when I first started being here in San Francisco, I wasn't not the least bit interested in meditation or energy work. It was not what I was into. I was into doing political work, but I knew I needed a transition, and a friend of mine dragged me over to a meditation school. And the minute I walked in the door, I said, oh, this is what I'm going to do with my life. So it's just one of those periods. It was just really transformative for no reason that I was aware of at the time. And so I've been doing it ever since. So I began, actually, I went to school in that meditation school for a while, and then they asked me to teach, and they kicked me out. So since they kicked me out, I thought, okay, well, I've got to do this on my own. So I started teaching in my apartment in San Francisco, and things just went from there. And the reason we became a school was because one of our students, well, several of our students were complaining that they were telling their friends they were taking these classes, but they couldn't tell them where they were going. So they said, we need someplace where there's a name, we need a name to say, people, we're going to this place, instead of just going to some living room. And so I said, okay. And so I hadn't planned on starting a school then or anything, but we ended up incorporating. And so we incorporated in 1981. So we're just 1 year younger than FMBR. So we've been around almost 41 years. So that's how it started. And now we've had the school going since then. Sometimes it's been hard to keep going, but we've managed to keep going all these years. And we teach 7-week classes. We have a 1.5 year clairvoyant training program. We have graduate classes. And people who are teachers have all been trained here in our teacher and training program. So that's basically what we do. And you can always check us out at psychichorizons.com. So basically our mission statement is, we teach people how to integrate who they are as spirit and body through the practice of meditation and healing, so they're able to grow and evolve spiritually through their everyday life. That's our goal. That's what we do. All the tools we teach are revolve around that. The spiritual growth isn't something that happens out there somewhere. If you go out there out of your body, or even do a lot of reading, esoteric reading, which is very fun. But the way you really grow and evolve as spiritual beings is to be present in your own life, because we all have taken physical bodies for a reason, and we've all chosen to be here as physical bodies. And so, when we come here as a spiritual being in a body, we're in the middle of this dichotomy. And the dichotomy is spirit and physical. So we have the spiritual self, and then we have the physical self. And it's a dichotomy we have to work out within ourselves. And that's how to manifest as spirit on the physical plane. And these are the principles that we teach, but this is also how we evolve. We evolve because we're working this out, how to manifest as spirit on the physical plane. And so that's why this is not just about reading books and discussing them or talking about weird phenomenon. It's actually about learning about and then doing the energy work. We don't have any books here. We don't recommend any books. People want to read stuff. We say, okay, go to a bookstore, go online to a bookstore and ask yourself, what would be appropriate for me to read right now? Because we want people to do the work, not go into their analytical brain and think about it. We don't want people to think about it, because that's not where we're coming from. This is not an analytical endeavor. This is a psychic endeavor. It's an intuitive endeavor. One day, a number of years ago, we had this woman come in, and she had a PhD in psychic phenomenon from Duke University, because Duke University, I don't know if they still do, but they used to teach a lot about psychic phenomenon, and they had a PhD program. And this woman came in, and she was kind of throwing her energy around a little bit because, she felt like she knew all this stuff. And she took our free introductory class, I think. I'm not sure exactly what she did, but she came in and she didn't know anything about how to do energy work. She just knew how to think about it. And so she never came back because it wasn't her thing. Learning how to do it really wasn't her thing. And so that's us. We're about doing it. So one of our goals is for people to learn how to get their own information through meditation and through the clairvoyant process, so that you can, under any condition, go into your meditation, get your own information about whatever it is you need your information about. And so that means really being neutral, because you can get your information if you're in a neutral space. You don't have any expectations about where the information would lead or anything like that, because you're neutral, don't have those kind of expectations. So getting your own information is a really important thing. Another goal is for people to learn how to lead their life, direct their life through their own meditation practice. Because through your own meditation practice, you can see what's going on with yourself. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? What's my relationship with somebody? What's going on in this relationship? And you can look at it, and through your meditation practice, get that kind of information, and then do some healing on yourself or on the relationship, for example, in terms of what's going on. So you can get your information if you know how to get it, be centered and grounded, be neutral. So that is a very, very powerful thing. So let's see. Now, sometimes learning this is difficult because it means kind of confronting yourself, confronting your own issues. You want to become a more healthy person, let's say, in terms of how you're leading your life. Or maybe you've got some issues going on in your relationship or your job or whatever it is. You want to make some changes. And so you have to confront certain issues about yourself. Why are you creating this? Why are you manifesting in this way? Let's look at that. Let's see why you're creating this or manifesting in this way. And so that can be confrontive, but at the same time, if you're in your own space, if you're centered and grounded and you're neutral, you're able to work with this. And you can work with almost anything in your life like this, so that you don't have to be afraid of it. You can say, yes, I can see this, I can own this, but this isn't something that I don't have to be afraid of. So that kind of a meditation practice where you're actually using it, to further your everyday life, can be really, really powerful, and you can use it the rest of your life. And meditation, why do we use meditation? It's because it's the bridge between who we are as spirit and who we are in our everyday lives. So it's the communication, really, the communication bridge between spirit and body. So, because everything we manifest in our everyday life is first found within us as spiritual beings. And so if we want to make a change in our everyday life, we need to make a change in ourselves. It's who we are as spiritual beings. So you want to have a way, a means of doing that. And so a meditation practice is the bridge, the way to do that. So it's understanding who we are as spiritual beings so that we can understand who we are as spirit in our body. So that's how we teach the meditation practice here. So the very first thing we teach is how to focus your attention and why. We teach you how to focus your attention in the physical center of your head. So the physical center of your head is in between these lines, okay, like that, right where the pineal gland is, if you know where that is. And you can even cross your eyes. If you cross your eyes, you feel a little nudge, and that little nudge, that's the center of your head. And we teach you to focus your attention there, not through effort, just through letting yourself be there, because it's the only place in your energy system that's neutral. So there's no other place like it except there. And there's no judgment of yourself or of other people. That's what neutrality means. You're not judging anything. And because you're not judging anything, you're not judging yourself, it's a place of a whole lot of self-acceptance. You can accept who you are from the center of your head. You're not judging, criticizing, expecting. You're not judging yourself based on who you were or who you think you should be. You're just right here, just present, and accepting who you are. And that also gives you permission to allow other people to be who they are. So you don't have to be in judgment of them either. And so that changes dynamics of relationships. So there's self-acceptance with no conditions. That's the center of your head. It's a very neat place to be able to be, and you can go and be there at any time. So we create and attract according to where our attention is. For example, if your attention is in a fear, or if your attention is in a worry, or if your attention in an anxiety, there's a lot of energy in those kinds of thoughts. And the energy in those thoughts then attracts like energy to it. So most people don't really want those fears or those worries in their lives. It's just they don't realize how much energy it has and how much power it has. And especially if you go there repeatedly. So if you go into a worry repeatedly, you can think of how much energy is in that worry. And then that energy attracts like energy to it. So you probably don't want that worry in your life. So what you can do is learn how to be in charge of your attention, so that you don't keep going to those places that you don't want to be. You don't want to be in that worry, or you don't want to be in that fear, for example. So you learn how to focus your attention in the center of your head. Then you become able to be in charge of your attention rather than your thoughts and your worries being in charge of you. So it's the reverse. Most people's attention just wherever it goes, right? But it doesn't have to. You can bring your attention and keep it in the center of your head. And I had a real interesting example of that one time, because I live in Marin, so I cross the Golden Gate Bridge a lot. And the Golden Gate Bridge has a barrier now in the middle for the lanes, but it didn't used to. It only had cones. And so there would be accidents on the bridge, and sometimes it's very serious ones, head-on collisions, because there was no barrier preventing one car from running into the other. And so one day I was going across the bridge and I thought, I wonder what it'd be like to have a head-on collision. And all of a sudden, this wind came across the bridge and started moving me into the direction of the oncoming traffic. And I said, whoa, okay, just stop. I'm not going to think like that anymore. And I just kind of blew that thought up and said, no, we're never going there again. And that's just kind of a interesting example of how much power a thought can have. So you really need to pay attention to your attention, where it goes. And so that's the first thing we teach in our classes is that, how to be centered, how to be in charge of your attention. The problem with it is it's not hard, but it takes a lot of practice and takes time. People get impatient. And so especially these days, people's attention's all over the place. It's in their phones, it's in their computers, it's on social media. But, when you really think about that or look at that, what happens with your attention being in those places is that Apple's in charge of your attention, Google's in charge of your attention, social media is in charge of your attention, Facebook or wherever it is you go, for social media. Those things are in charge of your attention. So you say, well, you have to ask yourself, is that what I want? Do I want some company to be in charge of my attention? Because that's me. Where my attention is, that's me. So do I want those things to be in charge of my attention? And so you might want to consider pulling your attention out of some of those things. And that doesn't mean not go there ever. It just means don't let them control your space. Don't let them be in charge of you all the time. So it's very, very powerful to, and by the way, when we used to teach this, when there didn't used to be all these distractions like, social media and the phones and all this, it was much easier to teach center of the head because people weren't quite as distracted as they are now. Now it's a little bit harder and it takes a little time for people to understand that concept. So it's kind of interesting how that's evolved. So being in charge of your attention really means being in charge of you. So it's very important. And even though it takes time and practice to learn how to focus that attention where you want it, it's worth it. So that's number one thing we teach. And we talk a lot about pictures. And a picture is an experience you've had, it's an issue you have, a belief you have, a thought you have, that's a picture. And so the picture is how you manifest in your life. We manifest according to our pictures. We manifest according to our beliefs, what we believe in. So for example, if you think you're a victim of the world or you're a victim of something, then you'll find yourself being a victim of something, a victim in a relationship, or maybe you feel like you're a victim of the economy or whatever it is. And so all of a sudden you find yourself in situations where you're a victim. And so then you are unhappy in your life and all of that and stuff like that. So that's a picture, that's a belief. So in order to change that, you need to change the picture, heal, what we call healing the picture. So, and we repeat these patterns over and over again, maybe not in the same situation, but in different situations, because these experiences and these beliefs have a lot of energy in them, right? And we create according to the predominant energy in our space. And we attract according to the predominant energy in our space. It was really funny one day. That's one of the laws of the universe is like attracts like. One day there was somebody here in class and they were angry about something. And I don't remember what they were angry about, but they walked across the street and across the street, there was a fight going on, and it's kind of like, that was a really clear example of how an angry person can attract anger to them, even when they're not conscious of that. But they also will attract angry people in their lives. So like they might be in a relationship where the person gets angry all the time, or they have arguments a lot or something like that. So we want to be able to see our pictures clearly so that we can see what pictures we're operating off of. Why are we attracting these things into our lives? Well, let's see what the picture is that's causing us to attract or to create these things in our lives. So that's why we use clairvoyance. Okay, clairvoyance is the ability to see clearly, and the ability to see energy, to see guides, to see pictures of your own or pictures of somebody else. And this is in your clairvoyant energy center, and the clairvoyant energy center happens to also be the center of your head. So every time you practice being in the center of your head, you're also practicing opening up your clairvoyant energy center. So you don't have to work at it. It's just like exercising a muscle. Every time you go into the center of your head, you're exercising your clairvoyant muscle. And so it opens up automatically just by doing this kind of meditation practice. So over time, your clairvoyant energy center opens up and you're able to start seeing energy, seeing pictures of your own and of other people. There's no effort. This happens automatically. So you can also see not only your energy, but other people's energy from a neutral space. And so we do teach people how to read energy of other people. We do readings here. We do healing clinics here. And one of the purposes of that is that if you as a reader are reading someone else's pictures, someone else's energy, then again, like attracts like, right? You're going to have similar pictures to them, similar issues to the person you're reading. And so you as the reader get to clean out, to heal a lot of your pictures because they've been lit up by whatever's going on in that reading. Okay, so you get to do a lot of healing on yourself as a result of you being the reader in that reading. Now, the person being read also gets a healing. So, because we teach how to do healing and readings, so it works for everybody. You know, it works for the person being read, it works for the reader. And that's why we actually started teaching readings. You know, I was teaching 7-week classes. I taught what we would call steps 1, step 2, step 3, all 7-week classes. But after the third class, I realized if people really want to get more in depth with this, I can just keep teaching classes, but in order to really get to stuff, they have to start doing readings. Because when you start doing readings, that's when you really get to some stuff, because everything that's going on in your life is going to show up on those readings. So that's where you get to do a lot of your healing work and so forth. It's from that. So it's a great place to be. And you know, I see people come in from the beginning, step 1, and then I see them come out at the end, you know. And we've always talked about taking photographs of people coming in and then people leaving, and because it's such a difference in the energy of how people are from the beginning to the end. It's really interesting. It's really fun. So we do meditation, healing, and energy work in combination. They all work together. Sometimes people ask us why we do this, that, or the other, but they all work together. You know, when you start doing meditation, it's really a healing on yourself anyway. And then healing is the ability to create change. So that's what it is, to create change in yourself or to create change with somebody else. And energy work is getting to know yourself as an energetic being and to understand how you work. So it's a combination of all those 3 things that we do. Now, another important tool, that we teach is grounding. And this is, I know most people have probably heard of grounding. It's where you connect yourself to the planet. And what that does is it brings you as spirit into your body. So you're filling yourself up as spirit. You're totally in your body when you're grounded. You can be present with yourself and you can be in your own life, you know, because a lot of times we're out of our body to some degree. We're spaced out. And when we're spaced out, we don't know what we're experiencing. You know, everybody's had the experience of going from one place to another in a car or on a bus or some means of transportation, and they get to their destination, but they don't remember how they got there. You know, they don't remember what they saw or anything like that. And the reason is they were spaced out. So they were not experiencing their own experience. And if you don't experience your own experience, then you're losing out. You're losing out on evolvement, you know, because this is how we evolve. We evolve because we're living our lives in our physical bodies. And so you want to learn how to be present in communication with your body. You don't leave your body out of your life or out of your meditation practice. Your meditation practice needs to include your body. And so grounding is super important. You know, it brings consciousness into your space. It brings you a spirit into your space. And it also allows your body to feel safe because your body is 3-dimensional and physical, and the planet is 3-dimensional and physical. You as spirit are not. You as spirit are different. You're a different vibration as spirit. And so in order for your body to feel safe, it needs to be grounded to something like itself. And so the physical plane, the physical planet is more like the body than the spirit is. So the body grounding to the physical planet helps the body to feel really secure. So it's that's really, and it brings you the spirit into your body. Combination. I could do a whole class on just grounding. Grounding is great. It also allows you as spirit to be in communication with your body. You're here, so you can communicate with your body. A lot of times we yell at our bodies, or we're mad about something, or why did you do this? Why did you do that? So that doesn't foster real good communication. You know, you want to treat your body like your friend, you know, like somebody that you really like and you want to have a real good communication with. That's your body, you and your body, you as spirit, you and your body. And so you can foster a real healthy relationship like that. And grounding is one of the tools to do that with. So another tool we use is boundaries, energetic boundaries. So I'm going to do meditation later on, and we're going to work with this with our auras later on in the meditation. But you know, when you don't have boundaries, energetic boundaries, then you tend to merge with other people. You tend to take on their energy or give your energy to them. And pretty soon you don't know who's who and whose stuff is whose, you know, because we've merged a lot with people. So, and then you might be operating off of someone else's needs or their expectations, and you sometimes don't even realize it, or, you know, or their dependencies, or you're trying to take responsibility for their stuff, things like that. And the reason is we've allowed their energy into our space and our energy is in their space. So we haven't defined ourselves very clearly. We haven't created boundaries. And so you want to learn how to create boundaries so that you've got more of you with you and more of them with them, and then having their energy with them and your energy with you, your communications are much more clear, and you're coming from who you are and they're coming from who they are. So also, if you have boundaries, you have more of your own energy with you, because, for example, your aura, which is your electromagnetic field around you, is a part of your energy system. And the way you really merge a lot is you mingle auras with one person and another, or you leave your energy someplace else. For example, if you're at work and you come home, and then when you're home, you keep thinking about work. Well, one reason might be that you left a lot of your energy at work. So if you bring your energy back, then you won't be thinking about work so much, and you'll be able to stay where you are, which is home. Or maybe if you're working at home now, because there's a lot of people online, you might have your energy in your computer, or your energy. So the audio dropped away. Everybody can hear.
Not for me. I can hear.
Okay. So if you're working at home, you might have your energy, you left it in your computer, or maybe you're talking to somebody online. Maybe you left your energy with that person you were talking to because there's a problem you were trying to resolve or fix. Or maybe you had a disagreement with that person. So maybe your energy is in that disagreement. So you can learn how to have your energetic boundaries and keep your energy with yourself, because that dissipates your energy. And if your energy is dissipated, then you don't have as much energy with you to do what you need to do. So you want to learn how to have those boundaries. So we teach boundaries. And then in the meditation practice itself, which we teach right away, of course, in stages, we teach it in stages, but in the meditation practice, we use energy from the earth and also energy from the cosmos, your spiritual energy. So you've got the energy from the earth, which is earth energy, and then the energy from the cosmos, which is spiritual energy, and you can integrate them in your meditation practice. So that even in your meditation practice, you are integrating yourselves, spirit and body. So that integration starts even in your meditation practice, and then you can extend that into your day, because you're practicing being centered, you're practicing being grounded, you're practicing having boundaries. And so just that process alone helps you in your everyday life. And then your meditation practice, you can raise your vibration and look at things you wouldn't normally be able to see or be aware of, because you're raising your vibration, being in a meditation state. And then you can do all this other stuff I was talking about. Okay. So we'll also talk about the aura and the chakras, and I'll do a meditation with the aura, in a couple minutes, and why they're important. And of course, the chakras we use every day, all the time, because that's where energy flow comes in and out. Our information comes in and out through the chakras, and our abilities, what are we using? What are we not using? What's shut down? What's opened up? Are we using too much of one thing, too little of another, and so forth. And then de-energizing pictures. De-energizing pictures is a super tool. It is removing the emotional charge out of past time, memories, experiences, issues, and beliefs. So de-energizing a picture. So that explain what a picture is. It's your experiences from the past, patterns, your beliefs, like the belief that you're a victim of everything, for example, or an issue you've got going on, or thoughts that are not helpful to you. You can remove the emotional energy out of your pictures, but keep the memory of the experience. So you don't lose what you've learned, okay? Because we learn from all of our experiences, right? And all of our beliefs, we learn from those things. So you don't want to forget them, but you don't want to have the emotional charge there, which attracts like energy to it. So you can use de-energizing pictures to heal all kinds of things. Maybe you have a pattern of like the example I used earlier of an angry person. Maybe the person is angry, they keep attracting these kind of relationships to them that are not beneficial. And so they look and see, okay, where did this anger start? Why did I start being so angry? They start looking at all the experiences they've had of being angry in their lives, and they start de-energizing all those experiences in their meditation. And after a while, the pattern is broken. So the person is no longer attracting to them all this angry stuff. And so for de-energizing pictures is very, very powerful. It's a fabulous healing tool. People start using it from very beginning class until all throughout clairvoyant training and all the graduate classes and everything. It's very, very powerful if you use it. Let's see. In fact, it was really interesting. I read an article one day in a magazine about this researcher doctor in New York, who was trying to develop, she was working with PTSD soldiers, people who come out of the military who had PTSD, who had these horrible memories with a lot of emotional energy in it, right, about their experiences. And so she was trying to develop a drug that would allow them to take the emotional charge out of their memories, but keep the memory, just like I was describing. So I wrote her a letter. I said, we do this, except we do it in meditation, not through a drug. But she never answered me, so I don't know what she thought about it. But anyway.
That's interesting. There's a question up about what kind of students you have in your school, and I'm wondering, are there people who come to your school, who to heal traumas or things like that?
We have actually quite a few people that come like that. A lot of times with sexual trauma. That's the most, actually, the kind of trauma we have here. There's some kind of abuse. Mm-hmm. And you can heal that stuff. There was this one woman who came one time, this is a number of years ago, who'd been terribly abused by her family. I don't know, her family practiced some kind of black magic or something. I don't know exactly what, but she was locked in closets and all kinds of abused terribly. And she came in and I said, oh boy, I don't know about this person. This is, she's pretty damaged. But she ended up going through all, the clairvoyant training program and everything, and she had really healed herself tremendously by the end of that. And it's really amazing because, we can't do it for people. We can teach them the tools and create a space for them to do it, but of course they have to do it themselves. But she did, she did, and she'll never be completely healthy, because she had so much trauma and was so damaged, but she became a functional person, and so yes, that is very much something that happens.
Can you see this? You keep mentioning pictures, but what about those of us who have aphantasia? the inability to create mental images in our mind?
You just create whatever you can, however you function in your life, it still works. Sometimes people say, well, I don't see pictures. I say, that's okay. Work with whatever you have, and whatever you have, de-energize. It still works, whether you actually see it or not. It's funny, we had a student once in Alaska who is a graphic artist, and she did graphic pictures for children's books, and she'd won awards for them and everything. And she said she could never see pictures. I thought, well, that's really strange, that she can't see pictures, but she can do all these graphics. But it doesn't matter. However you think, de-energize the thought. Okay.
Okay. So actually, before we go on, I just want to, Adara has had her hand up for
Okay.
a while.
Okay.
Adara, I'm going to unmute you and see if you want to ask a question.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
No, I'm fine. I didn't know if you could even hear me because I didn't know whether I was unmuted or not.
I can hear you now.
Lower my, I was gonna say, let me lower my hand. Because I was gonna ask, with some of the people who you're saying, that really, really have a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I'm finding, and I just wanted you, if you have a comment about this, I appreciate all you're saying, and it's helpful. The other thing I'm finding, and this is my question, because I think a lot is being, I don't have any other word for it other than broadcast. There's things being broadcast to both our conscious minds and our subconscious minds. And I'm more concerned with picking up a broadcast, that's sent to me subconsciously. And so what I'm trying to make myself more aware of is, okay, is that mine or is that someone else's? And where did that come from, out of the subconscious? So I just wanted to see how, if you have a comment about how you deal with, because I've seen this, I feel it myself, and it just seems to be extremely prevalent this last, I'll say, couple of years, that things are being deliberately broadcast. And broadcast still, it's a frequency, it's a vibration, but I think we have to learn to be more aware of what's ours and what isn't ours, so we can eliminate it with some of the tools you're saying. So I just had a question about how you deal with broadcast vibration.
Like it's protection, right?
Yeah. Basically, you ask yourself, whose is it? Is it yours or someone else's? If it's someone else's energy coming at you, we have tools that you can use to protect yourself, but also clean out the energy of other people regularly. That's something you can do in your meditation practice. We teach that in the very first class we teach. We have to teach some of that stuff right away. So if it's someone else's, you can clean out your energy space of their energy, give it back to them. If it's yours, you need to say, okay, where is this coming from and why? And you look at it and see, what's the picture? What's the reason that you're allowing this broadcasting from yourself to go on? So it depends. It depends if it's yours or if it's somebody else's. You treat it differently.
Okay. Yeah, I just hadn't, heard you mention that. So I said, I wanted.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad you did. Because I didn't talk specifically about cleaning other people's energy out, but yes, we definitely do that all the time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for acknowledging my question.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judy. Judy answered your question.
And while we're here, so there's Scott mentioning the Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono. He says it's good for that.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it. I'll believe you.
Okay. And then this is just sort of a follow on to the types of people who come to the school. It was noted that young people are really interested in these kinds of teachings and learning how to do these things. Has that always been true? And do you think, why do you think that is?
We've always had a lot of young people. Why that is depends on the person. You know, right now we have a lot of people from tech in classes, and from what I've seen, some people want to have more of a sense of purpose, you know, for themselves. A lot of people in tech I've seen, they make good money, but they're not necessarily happy in what they're doing. So they're looking for ways to feel happy about themselves. Some people really are interested in spirituality. And, and, you know, people have been raised, some people have been raised in certain religions. They found the religion is no longer doing anything for them. And so they want something else. So they're looking for some spiritual purpose. It really depends on the purpose. There's a wide variety of reasons why people come. We've also had older people. You know, we have right now a student who I think is 69, and one of our students years ago used to be this. He's no longer alive, but he taught conductors of music orchestras. He taught conductors of orchestras how to conduct. And he was this very interesting guy. And he was, I think, came here in his 70s. And he stayed here for a number of years. So it's a wide variety of ages.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. That's all the questions we have right now. So you were going to talk about chakras?
I was actually going to do meditation. Is everybody up for meditation?
Yeah, let's do that.
Everybody nodding?
Everyone's nodding.
Okay. So if you're sitting in a chair, you want to be sitting in a chair, you want to have your feet flat on the floor, your hands apart, and your head on straight. So, and then close your eyes. And then find that spot in the center of your head, the physical center of your head. And imagine that you have a gold ball there. And you want to just visualize that gold ball because it makes it easier for you to put your attention in a space. So imagine a gold ball about the size of a golf ball there. And allow your attention to be there. Don't work at it. Just allow your attention to be there. And this is you acknowledging you as spirit. So you just say hello to yourself there. And then allow that gold ball to expand and fill up your whole head. And as that gold ball expands, it's going to move everyone else's energy out of your head. Just like the woman was talking about a little bit earlier. This is one way just out of your head to clean out your head and give everyone else's energy that's in your head back to them as that gold ball expands. And let that gold energy just sort of clean out your head. Give your head an energy bath. And then have that energy get smaller again, about the size of a golf ball, or whatever's comfortable for you. Maybe a little bit bigger is more comfortable, a little smaller is more comfortable. Say hello to yourself again, and notice any difference between the first time you said hello and the second time you said hello. And again, this is your place of neutrality, where there's no judgment. There's a lot of permission for you to be where you're at. A lot of self-acceptance. And your clairvoyant energy center, your sixth chakra, also known as your third eye. So you want to keep your attention in that space as much as possible. And your attention is going to wander. So when it wanders, just notice where it goes. Does it go to work? Does it go to a relationship issue? Does it go to an argument? Just notice where it goes. Maybe it goes to your grocery list. Wherever it goes, just bring it back when you notice that it wanders someplace. If you hear noise outside, maybe your attention wanders to that noise. And the reason it goes to the noise is because your attention literally goes into the noise, and that's why you get distracted. So just pull it out of the noise and you won't get distracted by it. And then from that space in the center of your head, say hello to the base of your spine. And in front of the base of your spine, you have an energy center there. It's called your first chakra. And for women, it's between your ovaries, and for men, it's at the prostate gland. And from the first chakra, drop a grounding cord. And that grounding cord will go through whatever floors you have in your building and into the earth. And gravity will pull it down. Gravity will pull your grounding cord down all the way to the center of the earth. And don't go down there with your grounding cord. Keep your attention in the center of your head. And when the grounding cord gets down to the center of the earth, hook it in however you want to hook it in. With an anchor, you can tie it around it, you can, whatever you like to use. And your grounding cord can look like whatever you would like, a tree trunk, a telephone pole, a thick rope. Now this grounding cord will bring you as spirit into your body. So visualize yourself coming in through the top of your head. You have an energy center there, your seventh chakra, so it's going to come in through the top of your head. And you, spirit, will come in and fill up your whole body, all the way down to the tips of your toes. So this is bringing consciousness into your body, bringing you as spirit into your body so you can be with yourself. So from the center of your head, say hello to your body with you as spirit in it. And so just notice what that feels like. And you want to learn how to be grounded a lot of the time. You don't have to be in meditation to be grounded. You can ground in your everyday life. You can be centered in your everyday life. You don't have to be in meditation to be centered. You don't have to be in meditation to be grounded. But when you are in meditation, you want to be centered and grounded. And you want your feet flat on the floor, because we're not going to do it now, but later on we teach you how to bring earth energy into your body. So now be aware of your aura. And your aura is the electromagnetic field around you. And notice how far out your aura goes, or ask yourself, how far out is your aura from your body? Is it way out there? Is it just a little bit out there? Is it closer to your body? Is it more on one side than the other? Your aura is a part of you. This is a part of your energy system. And it's created because when you as spirit come into your body, there's a difference in vibration. You as spirit are a higher vibration. You as body are a lower vibration. That difference in vibration creates the aura. So when you as spirit are in, you can actually see or be aware of how you are manifesting as spirit in your body. And that's what people look at when they look at your aura. How is this person manifesting in their body? Now, if a person is only in as far as their forehead, which a lot of people are, only in as far as their forehead, their analytical brain, that's only as far as their aura will go. If it's down as far as their shoulders, the aura will go down as their shoulders, and so forth. If you're all the way down into your whole body, all the way down to your feet, your aura will go down all the way down under your feet. So just visualize your aura as being about 1.5 feet all the way around you. 1.5 feet out from your body, all the way around you. So that you can have your energy with you. If your energy is real far away, like 5 feet away or 10 feet away or even more, your energy is dispersed. and you don't have as much as your energy to work with because it's pretty far away. And think of all the people that walk into your aura when your aura is really far away. And they might walk into your aura and they will drop their depression or their anger. And so then you get to deal with someone else's energy, someone else's depression, or someone else's anger. So you want to keep your aura around you, about 1.5 feet. And then visualize on the outside edge a medium blue color. Medium blue color all the way around. So that will help you define where your aura is. So you'll know, oh, that's my boundary. And anything inside of that medium blue is you. And anything outside of that medium blue is not you. So just say hello to yourself in the center of your head again. Notice where you've gone, if you went anywhere. And if you spaced out, just bring yourself back. It's very common. People aren't used to being focused anywhere until you learn how to do it. And say hello to your grounding, to being in your body. And you've got a definition. So you're centered and you're grounded and you're defined. So you can practice this all the time, just something real simple like this. And you can walk around in your everyday life, out of meditation, centered, grounded, defined. And then bend over, put your head down between your knees, let your hands droop down, and this will bring you out of meditation. And then sit back up, open your eyes, and then you're out of meditation. So you bend over and balance like that. So you come out of meditation, you complete the meditation. So you just did a little meditation. You actually learned quite a bit in about 5 or 10 minutes. So this is some of what we teach at the school. So that's all the presentation I have. If people have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Wonderful, thank you.
Questions or comments about what we
yeah.
just, yeah.
Still coming out of that meditation, I'm feeling really, really relaxed. Yeah, so if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat or the Q&A. And I was writing down questions. Let me, sorry, I had a couple come in earlier. Oh, there was a question about just sort of, you lived in Iran with parents who were missionaries.
Yes.
So it's pretty fair to say that you're pretty far removed from that experience?
Well, you know, where you grow up always is a part of your experience, right? And I lived there for a long time, about 14 years. And, you know, to me, it was just normal, you know. Right. And at that time, this was the 50s and 60s, and it was during the Shah. And Tehran had a lot of foreigners there at that time, you know, missionaries. And missionaries, by the way, were a big influence there, you know, early on. They built a lot of hospitals and schools and things like that. And, but there's a lot of oil company people there. There was a lot of military there. US Aid was there, a lot of business people from all over the world. It was very international. And I went to an international school. And so it was people from everywhere. The big day at the school was the UN Day, because there was people from so many different countries. And so we had a big celebration on UN Day. No one here even knows when that is. It's October 24th, in case you're interested. But it was a great experience, because not only did we live there, but we traveled all over the Middle East and Europe, because you just drive, you know. And so it gives you a really broad experience of the world. You're not just thinking of yourself as only American, you know, you're thinking of yourself in more of a worldwide context. So, you know, and we went back there 5 or 6 years ago to visit we were there for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. It was great. You know, we had it's a wonderful country. You just have to ignore the government, pay attention to people, you know, how it is everywhere.
I think that's true everywhere.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful country. And if you like archaeology, it's really, really a good place to go. So
Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. What was the name of the school where you learned to meditate, and why did they kick you out?
I went to the Berkeley Psychic Institute in Berkeley, and I don't know why they kicked me out. That's kind of how they made separations from people. I was there for a couple of years, and they asked me to teach, and I said okay. And I never had a teacher and training program. I never learned how to teach from anybody. I just taught myself. But then one day I was on vacation, went camping, came back, and I didn't have a mailbox. And that's how I knew that I'd been kicked out. So I said, okay. So I went and started doing stuff on my own.
So that was a question. Toby wanted to know where these particular meditation techniques came from. Is there a lineage? It sounds like
Part of it's from there, and then part of it I invented and our staff did over the years. You know, if you do this long enough and you look at things, you ask yourself, well, how do you do this kind of healing? How do you do that kind of healing? And we create things, you know, and so we've created a lot of our own tools, but a lot of the basic tools came from there.
Toby, who asked that question, wants to ask you. So I'm going to go ahead and allow that.
Hi, Toby.
Let's see.
I'm talking. Hi there.
Hi.
I didn't hear what you said, and so I didn't get that part of the instruction, but I wonder if you recommend eyes open or eyes closed meditation, and why?
I recommend them closed.
Why?
Because when we're used to having our eyes open in our everyday lives, and we're always looking out there, right? And so in meditation, we want to look in here. And so it's a lot easier to look in here, to be within, if our eyes are closed and our eyes are open.
I guess you could say it's easier.
Let me put it this way. For most people, it's easier.
It's easier, but it's pretty amazing to learn it with eyes open. I mean,
You can. People do that sometimes. You can. I usually recommend people have their eyes closed, but it's up to you. The meditation practice is for you, right? So you need to do it the way in which you feel most comfortable.
I'm just curious why
Yeah.
you would choose one over the other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Toby. Question for Laura. Beyond managing one's own energy, are there ways you'd suggest for those wanting to lessen anger, fear, and divisiveness on the planet to be of help?
Well, not really through meditation, although people do feel like if you have group meditations, it really does help, you know, the world. And my opinion is that if one person becomes more healthy energetically, then that kind of people see that around you, and people know that something's changed, you're different, and people react to that, you know. So within your circle, there's reactions to it, because your dynamics have changed with them, and so their dynamics are going to change with you as well. And so in that way, it helps the world. You just have to get everybody into meditation. That's all. So, but in terms of, you know, some organizations do large group meditations. We don't. You know, we have done a few, like on certain days, we'll get everybody together and do a group meditation. Like every year, we get a lot of people together and do a setting the energy for the new year. We're going to do that in January. So we let go of the old year, set the vibration we want to set for the new year. You know, so that's a group thing, and we have group classes, of course. But in terms of a huge worldwide thing, I don't know what I'd recommend actually, other than just, you know, healing yourself.
Yeah, and Lorna's asking how is intuition affected by this? I think you got into it a little bit because of that.
How is intuition affected? Is that what your question?
How is your intuition affected? Yeah.
Oh, well, this is an intuitive process. When you're in the center of your head, it's an intuitive process. So you're practicing that all the time. And getting information is an intuitive process. It's not analytical at all. One of the things we have to teach people is how to get out of the analytical process, because everybody's so in it. And to be able to tell the difference. And we work with that actually quite a bit, to tell the difference between being in an analytical process and being an intuitive process. So then that's something, center of head is intuitive. And you can also see clairvoyantly from the center of your head.
Speaking of analytical processes, we have a question coming in from YouTube that someone wants to know, what was it that made you want to study politics and law?
Well, my family, you know, I'm from a religious family, obviously, but our family's also always been into politics. And we always discuss politics, you know, at the dinner table and all that kind of stuff. My dad was really into politics and history, and which I'm also really interested in. And well, my majors in college were political. I kept changing majors, so I ended up with 3 majors, and they were political science, philosophy, and history. And so it's always been an interest of mine. And when the time I'm speaking of, this was the time of the Vietnam War, and a lot of stuff going on with that. And then there was civil rights was going on, and then the women's movement had just started. So this is 68, 69, 70, and all the way to about 74. And so, you know, I'm kind of old. So all that stuff was really going on then. And it was interesting, and it was action packed, and it was relevant. You know, we all thought it was really relevant, important. And so that's why. And I worked as a paralegal. You know, I had worked at legal aid, and I could see the difference it made in the clients' lives. And so that's one reason I decided to go to law school. But then I realized I didn't, so I ended up coming out here instead.
Yeah, I mean, that was the really sort of that tumultuous time when worldviews were changing.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think, you know, what you're doing now is contributing greatly.
Yeah,
right?
in a different sort of a way. Yes.
You know, one person at a time. You're changing kind of the field.
Well, it's interesting too, because, you know, I grew up, my dad was a minister, his dad was a minister. On his side of the family, they were all missionaries or alcoholics. And on my mother's side, they were all missionaries. And so I swore when I left home, I would never open a Bible again. I left home at 17. I swore I'd never open a Bible again. And so I became a minister and started a church. So, you know, it's pretty ironic.
There was a question about reincarnation, that this church believes in reincarnation, teaches reincarnation, right? That's
yes.
And
we read past lives and everything in our readings. Yes.
And how did you come to that from your? I assume your religious background did not allow for that.
No. No. Well, you see it when you work with energy. You see past lives, you know,
Right.
and you see them in people's space, and so you can see how a person's past life is affecting them now, because they had some experience and they needed to get information from that past life, or to complete something, or, you know, whatever it is. And so it affects them now. And so we don't read any past lives just for the hell of it. You know, we don't say, oh, we're just going to do past life reading. We don't do that. We only read past lives because they're relevant now in that person's life. But you can see that they're relevant. And so, yeah, so that's how I came to it, is just because I was working with this, and you can see it.
Okay. Trinity wants to ask you a question, so I'm going to allow Trinity.
Am I unmuted?
No, you're muted.
Oh, great.
Trinity.
Yeah, okay. First of all, just to clarify, I'm a former student of Laura. I guess it goes back 15, 20 years.
It's quite years.
And we're from the same generation. And I just wanted to say that in my own experiences as both being a Buddhist practitioner in meditation practice taught there, as well as the meditation taught by Psychic Horizons, there's a way in which the forms are similar, but the purpose is very different. So please take, for anybody who's listening, meditation is different depending on how it's used. Okay, it still brings the stillness to your mind, but then, and also the Buddha developed meditation practice largely for, you know, monks who sat in meditation for hours and days and years. And so the psychic and the meditation from Psychic Horizons, personally, I found was just it's like learning how to read, but you get a dictionary and you get an encyclopedia, so that when you run into something, oh, what is that? Oh, okay, let me look it up. versus I don't know what it is that I guess I'll have to wait and find out. You know, so
Yeah.
An interesting way to look at it. Okay, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
you know,
Thank you for making-
and both ways will work. It's just a question of what it is that you're trying to do.
Mm.
And so I incorporated both. And so I just wanted to say that just to make that, you know, personal clarification. And I think Laura can maybe clarify why they work differently, but because meditation is it's like learning to read. And
Yeah.
everybody needs to learn how to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trinity. That
Yeah,
was
You're
really good
welcome.
observation. Thank you.
That distinction. That's really, really helpful. Let me go ahead and mute you. Actually, I think that's all the questions we have. But someone had asked earlier for your website, how to get a hold of you, how to learn about your classes.
The website is Psychic Horizons with an S on the end .com.
Okay, I apologize. I had put .org earlier in the chat.
Yeah,
but-
.com. Yeah, so you can go there. You'll find everything there. Yeah,
Okay, great. And you do personal readings as well?
I do.
Okay, so so great. Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending. It's been wonderful having you here.
Thank you, Judy. It's been a pleasure. Thank
Good
you.
afternoon. Thank you, Laura, and we'll see you all next time.
Great. Thank you, Judy.
Okay.